Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, Dr. Mercelin Dalregis tops the Queen's Honours list. Plus, the opposition leader slams the health minister's naughty or nice comments. And an 11-year-old teaches other children how to code. Welcome to our news, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, a woman was shot dead in Farm Road, Treasure Key, ABACO, and a man who's known to her is in police custody. According to police, a woman was shot in the head at around 1 p.m. today. After following a significant lead, police arrested a man in the Murphytown area. Upon searching the man, police say he was discovered with a 9mm Smith & Wesson pistol and 38 rounds of ammunition. A man who was at the home, who also lives at the home where the woman was shot, was also shot and is in hospital. Dr. Mercelin Dalregis tops the Queen's New Year Honours list for the Bahamas as she was conferred the Order of St. Michael and St. George for excellence in public and community health. Dalregis is widely seen as a guiding light during the difficult 9 months of the pandemic for the Bahamas as she served as a health consultant to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Also being honored are James Mitchell Pinder for services to politics and business and Walter Wells for services to business and industry. They are conferred with orders of the British Empire. Receiving chivalry awards for Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire are Dr. Charles Diggits for services to medicine, Frederick Gottlieb for services to politics and industry, and the Honorable Jeffrey Williams for services to sport and civic services. U.S. and Bahamian search and rescue teams have ended their search for a vessel that left Bimini with 20 people on board. After 84 hours of search, the U.S. Coast Guard called off efforts to find the 29-foot Mako Cuddy cabin vessel. Its expected destination was Lake Worth. The group of search agencies covered an area the size of Massachusetts, but turned up nothing. The Ministry of Health is confirming an additional 4 COVID-19 deaths. Those deaths were previously under investigation, but have since been classified as COVID-19 deaths. The deaths are a 59-year-old man from Grand Bahama on November 19th, and 3 women from Grand Bahama, ages 61, 68, and 69, who died on November 12th, 19th, and December 13th, respectively. Meanwhile, health officials are confirming 15 new cases of COVID-19. 10 of those cases are on New Providence, 3 on Grand Bahama, and 1 on San Salvador. That new case on San Salvador is the second confirmed case on that island after health officials confirmed a case there on New Year's Day. Hospitalizations are at 11, with all of those patients moderately ill. There are no reported cases in the intensive care unit. The assertion by Health Minister RENWARD Wells that increased restrictions will depend on whether Bahamians have been naughty or nice is not sitting well with Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis, who hit back saying the Bahamian people are not children. Berthie McDermott has that.
If they're nice, you're not talking to children.
Opposition leader Philip Davis is again lashing out at the Minnis administration, which he accused of pointing the finger at the Bahamian people. He was responding to Health Minister RENWARD Wells, who on Tuesday told reporters that government will know in roughly 2 weeks if more COVID-19 restrictions are necessary. He added this will be heavily dependent on whether Bahamians have been naughty or nice over the holidays.
It is typical of this government to continue to point fingers. Why point fingers at the populace? Right? They are not children that have to be nice. What is required of this government, right, is to ensure that they have the proper protocols in place to protect our citizens from the transmission of the virus.
While admitting that Bahamians do have a part to play in slowing the spread of COVID-19, Davis said the problem is the government's approach to the pandemic.
The challenge they have is that their approach, the government's approach to the pandemic, is to coerce Bahamians into certain kind of behavior, when in fact they should be seeking the cooperation of the Bahamians. So it is cooperation over coercion. And that is what we seek to see the government attempting to do.
In recent weeks, the Bahamas has seen a decrease in COVID-19 cases. This prompted the Prime Minister to relax a number of restrictions ahead of the holidays. The opposition leader added that the key to getting the public's cooperation is through public education. It's an area, he said, the government has failed in.
And I think they're falling down on educating the public about this virus and how best to deal with it. And that is lamentable on the part of this government, that they would continue to point fingers at the populace.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
A businesswoman makes an appeal to help for 7 orphan kids in ABACO. And a college student makes a change and becomes a barber during the pandemic. Stay with us.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live. From the first case to the second wave, our news has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season,
sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year, but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
Director of Evergreen Mortuary and North Abaco native DENALEE PENN-MACKEY is backing an appeal for assistance for the children of a 35-year-old woman who was killed in Abaco last week. PENN-MACKEY says the orphan kids will need a lot of help.
If you'd like to give food items, clothing, formula, Pampers, whatever it is that you can do for this family, it will be greatly appreciated.
That's the appeal sent out by PENN-MACKEY for the children of Angeleta Pritchard, a 35-year-old mother of 5 boys and 2 girls who was killed in Abaco on December 26th.
I was shocked and saddened.
Our News spoke to the woman's grieving sister earlier this week. She described Pritchard as a sweethearted person who was there for everybody. Things were tough for her while she was alive, but her family says she tried her best to provide for her children through her job as a security guard. But things have been tough in Abaco.
As you know, many families in Abaco is still recovering from Hurricane Dorian. And in recent months, the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected us all.
The 7 kids Pritchard left behind will be tough for the North Abaco family to support without help.
I am therefore, with the permission of the family, making an appeal to you, the general public, for any assistance that you can give this family at this time.
Pritchard's funeral expenses are covered, and you can donate to her grandmother's bank account shown on the screen. PENN-MACKEY says other donations can be dropped off at Evergreen Mortuary.
Please remember, the good book says, whenever you do to the least among us, you've done it unto him.
A 23-year-old college student says he went full-time into barbering during the pandemic. Robert Pratt says he was used to cutting as a hobby, but things got more serious when pandemic uncertainty increased.
I've always had a passion for cutting hair, so my friends would always trust me to cut them in my dorm room, so I'd always shape them up and shave them. But as of June of this year, due to the pandemic, I've been cutting hair for 7 months now, so professionally.
Pratt was in college the last 4 years and hasn't graduated just yet, but he says uncertainty from the pandemic pushed him deeper into the trade. He uses social media to attract more clients with the handle Rob Got the Juice.
Social media plays a big role in it. Just posting a picture, you know that somebody sees it every day. Just having to post a picture, and that's all it takes, really. It helps to build your whole clientele, and it just brings more faces to your whole business.
When Our News comes back from the break, a preteen teaches other kids how to code. Find out how.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live.
From the start of the first case to the second wave, Our News has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season.
Sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year,
but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
A 6th grade student is encouraging other children to learn to code through a group called Kids Code 242. It started as a pandemic hobby, and it's growing into something much more special. When 11-year-old Chelsea Smith found herself with a ton of idle time during the pandemic, the 6th grader did something different.
I initially started coding, or learned to code, as something to do during the start of the pandemic, I guess, because I'm a very active person, so I wanted to do something.
With the help of her 16-year-old brother, Chelsea started learning 4 coding languages. It was a challenging process, but the preteen stuck to it.
I know JavaScript, I know Java, I know Python, I know Lua, I know little CSS.
In order to get more kids her age into coding, Smith started Kids Code 242, a platform where children can sign up and have access to the same resources Chelsea used to learn to code.
We usually have Saturday meetups where we go over whatever we've done or if we've been having any problems or anything like that.
Coding is using a programming language to get a computer to do what you want it to. It can be a challenging process, and the Windsor Prep student says it takes patience.
I wouldn't say it's simple because sometimes it can be very challenging because if you miss one step, you add an extra dot, you miss a slash, you miss a space, it sort of breaks up the whole code and it doesn't run. So you have to go through it and make sure every single detail is right, which does take some time.
Smith is in the process of learning 4 languages. She hasn't mastered any yet, but she's making progress every day. Her program is also growing slowly since it requires kids who are ready for a serious challenge.
We really just get people to come by people we know or people who they know or sending it out in group chats and stuff like that.
Smith says she enjoys playing chess and loves reading. She says she dabbles in sports and playing the piano. She says she has dreams of being a pediatrician, but also wants to use her tech background to make machines to help patients. She says she lives by this motto.
You'll never find success, the word success, before the word work, unless it's in the dictionary.
When our news comes back from the break, we've got your quote of the week. Stay with us.
This year has been hard on all of us. Many have lost friends and loved ones to COVID-19, which has changed the world and the way we live. From the first case to the second wave, our news has been there with you, and we will continue to stand with you this holiday season,
sharing in your stories of tragedy and triumph. Christmas may look and feel very different this year, but its meaning of love and hope remains the same. From our family to yours, Merry Christmas and a safe and prosperous New Year.
It's time now for your quote of the week. Coming in at number 3, the director of the Financial Crimes Unit, Chief Superintendent Matthew Edgecombe, warning Bahamians not to fall for fraud schemes in 2021. He says more people are out of work and desperately in need of funds, making them easy targets for fraudsters. Samsung and Ponzi schemes are just 2 kinds. Another favorite scam.
Also have something called the mystery shopper, where you might get an email or the people advertise that they're a mystery shopper, and they would tell you that they need your banking information from you, and you would give them banking information, but they want to use it as a way to either get into your account or somebody else's account. They take monies off.
At number 2, the sister of a man who died along with his wife in a Christmas Day car crash says she owes it to her brother to help support his now orphaned children. The couple's daughters, ages 12 and 16, were also badly hurt in the crash.
I know that they will have all the support that they need. There's no way that we would not support them, because that would be our tribute to Brent's life. All Brent did was support us.
And your quote of the week comes from Health Minister RENWARD Wells. He's suggesting that in the second week of January, coronavirus restrictions will be revised. Changes may come depending on, according to him, whether Bahamians have been naughty or nice.
We'd be looking maybe in the second week in January as to how, whether as a people and are just staying in the Christmas season, whether we've been naughty or nice.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. To catch our news on the go, download the RevGo Play app. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Jared Higgs. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.